start it?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon. Welcome to VMware's, the session about VCP preparation. Let's kick this off. So my name is Maarten van Driessen. I'm a freelance infrastructure consultant outside of Belgium.
My name is Heldstab. I am a systems engineer for the Minnesota State Colleges and Universities in the United States.
My name is Dave Simpson. I serve on the VMUG board with Matt, and I work for a Dow 30 insurance company in my spare time.
Fantastic.
And a local London leader, and a UK UserGroup leader.
Yeah, I lead the Minneapolis VMUG too, and I'm VMUG vice president, so I suppose. All right, so why are you all here? Well, certification. If you haven't heard, some rules have changed a little bit with getting keys if you're a vExpert or if you've had VMUG Advantage. And so now the cool part is that once you get certified with your VCP in VCF, either the administrator or the architect exam on either 5.2 or 9, and if you're a VMUG Advantage subscriber, you are entitled to 128 cores of VMware Cloud Foundation for non-production use in your home lab. Who here is a VMUG Advantage subscriber? Hands. Oh, fantastic. You guys are like all ready.
We're all in.
Already.
Still two people who are not, so we got to sort that out.
Yeah, we'll sign you up this afternoon.
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah, and we got the right people here to help you get VMUG Advantage if you need to. So as I said before, these are the certification exams. I am not 100% sure about that support exam, if that qualifies if you only take the support exam.
I will let you know next week.
We will find out very soon.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there is a cert that you can take. It's called the VVF admin exam that does not qualify for the VCF keys. However, it does give you VVF keys, I think 32 cores of VVF, if you do pass that. So if you're interested, there's a little bit of a benefit. But yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about our certification journey that we have had in our careers. Maarten, why don't you start?
Yeah, sure. I first started doing certifications as a way to test myself. I started doing that when I was a consultant. I think back in the vSphere 6 days is the first VCP that I took. So I did that, passed it, and then kind of went on a certification journey, did the VCAPs, did the NSX certification as well, passed all that, except VCP and V, for which Evert is not here, so I'm just going to skip that, that's fine. And then last year at Explore Barcelona, I was like, let's just try the VCP-VCF admin exam, see where I end up. Ended up passing it for 5.2. Then my co-leader in Belgium decided to YOLO architect and passed, so I couldn't stay behind. Tried that, also passed it. And then since Vegas up until now, I think that's when you wanted to do the next slide, is when I completed all the certifications. Not a picture of me, just prefacing that. But yeah, I just finished support today, did admin yesterday. That was really fun. Admin is by far the hardest exam in the new series, surprisingly. But yeah, that's been my journey so far.
You want to go ahead?
Sure, yeah. Unlike these children, my first course was in VCP. We're all saying VCF now, aren't we? vSphere 3.
It wasn't vSphere back then.
It was
ESX.
It was ESX 3.
3. Did the 3.5 exam in Vegas in 2008. Did the cert wheel thing for a little bit, fell off the cert wheel, then passed an exam for 6.5, and then realized that I still had to do the course. So managed to do a course, which got me certified again, and then quit again because you can't keep doing the same certification and proving nothing to your boss. So until talking to these two on the show floor a while back at Explore, I'd given up on the certification thing. But then we figured that for science, we'd do the new ones, and we'd talk to people about it. We'd talk about how VMUG can help you do it. So here I am. Did the 5.2 ones, did the 9 architect yesterday. Yes. Seems so long ago already, but yeah, only yesterday. Passed that one, and I agree with what Maarten said about the admin one being a lot harder in 9 than the architecture one, in my opinion. Yes. But we'll come on to that later.
Yep. So my journey's a little bit different. I work in the public sector, and so certification isn't as big of a deal. I probably lasted till about 2012 when I read a blog post. His name was Conrad Ramos, VNoob, I think, is what his blog is.
You've said it 5 times, and I can't remember it.
Yeah, VNoob. If you look that up, he's got a really cool article on why get certified when it doesn't matter for your job. He talked a little bit about doing it for yourself. And it really does feel good when you prove to yourself that you can get a certification. So the 5.0, I think 5.1 was the first one that I sat, and I was able to pass that. 2 years later, I had to choose either to renew with a Delta, I think, or go with a different track. I did the desktop track to renew. 2 years after that, I just decided to let it go. And then the classroom component was a barrier because I didn't want to spend $4,000 or $3,000 on an ICM exam to qualify and then to have to sit the exam. So I didn't get a certification up until right after Barcelona in 2024. Belgians are really good at making you feel inadequate at times, and so you guys all passed your certification exams, and that made me think, you know what, maybe that might be a good one to try to go for. So I talked with Brad, and Brad thought it would be a good idea. We could tell our story. Brad Tompkins, executive director of VMware, right behind here. Woo! He thought it'd be good to try it, but he told me you can't study. You have to do it with no studying, blind, and see where you're at, and see if maybe it's a cert that other people are going to be able to get without much effort.
Out studying is the best.
Yes. So I was able to pass the 5.2 administrator exam without much effort, and then since then I passed the 5.2 architect exam. I decided that the 9.0 admin exam was more worth it to me because I've got 9 coming up. I didn't have time to study. I haven't looked at the product at all, but I just wanted to try it out. And I came a few questions short, but I ended up failing it. But you know, sometimes taking the test is great for seeing what's on the exam, and then the next time you try it, maybe you'll have some more success.
Absolutely.
But I agree. I think the administrator exam is definitely maybe the most difficult one out of them all, especially if you have architecture experience. So if architects out there that are familiar with like TOGAF 9, for example, we've got some things a little bit later in the presentation about some of the architect things that you'll want to know to pass. But if you have experience in architecture, you're most the way there to being able to pass architect, maybe even before you try administrator, like Dave did.
The requirements don't change. That was a TOGAF.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So now, since we all were able to pass at least our 5.2 exams back in for a while, it makes you feel pretty good when you pass the certification. So, and to be honest with you, since we're in the UK, we thought that we would just say, you know what, hey, maybe other people will want to become lords of VCF and pass a certification exam.
You should try it.
First time I see this.
Okay, you want to talk a little bit about some tips and tricks and community resources?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Matt, I did some of the stuff for science. Once I realized that Matt was doing what he was doing, I figured I'd approach it as well, do similar sort of stuff. Now, I have got no VCF experience whatsoever because our ELA hasn't come up for renewal at this point, so we're old school from a Broadcom perspective. So, being as you were doing it with no revision whatsoever, but you'd at least seen VCF, I figured I'd do it with no VCF whatsoever, but a little bit of research. So, because we're a direct Broadcom customer, I was able to go on the Broadcom site, because if you have an ELA of any description with Broadcom, then you can get training. All the Broadcom training is available to anybody with the same email domain address that you signed the ELA with. So everybody in my company could get trained up on VCF 5 because there was a lot of content there at the time. I looked at that for VCF 5. So literally decided, got talked into doing the exam, booked it on the Friday, did some reading up over the weekend, passed it like Monday, Tuesday. Because that was the first version. That was VCF 5.2, the first version of the exam. And in that point, you could, well, I did. You passed the exam pretty much by knowing that VCF exists, what some of the things were called, and then you leant heavily on your vSphere and your vSAN knowledge. And that was sufficient. It's not like that anymore in 9.
It's not.
So for me, that internal, if you like, Broadcom training was brilliant. I relied on that very heavily. I mean, do you want to do admin first and then come back to architect?
Sure. Yeah, let's do admin first.
Right, because the stuff on this slide, these 12 days, I mean, did you go through any of this stuff, either of you?
No.
I haven't looked at.
I have not.
I skimmed
any
some of
posts at
it
all.
just to look at it, but yeah, I didn't use it as a study
Yeah.
material, but I have heard from many folks that this is
Yes.
amazing material
It's a great
for
resource.
getting a good introductory exposure
Absolutely.
to VCF. And then this is 5.2, but as you said, and so Paul Turner, you guys all heard him talk today and yesterday. He wanted to help make the exam more accessible. The 9 is difficult, it is, but to be honest with you, it's actually not a bad thing that if you have no experience in the product, not being able to necessarily pass with ease. I think that it means that the exam is maybe a bit more accurate than the 5.2 was.
You shouldn't be able to be certified in a product you've never seen.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and now what they did in the 5.2 exam that I think really helped was the fact that VCF has a lot of different components, one of which is vSphere, right? vSphere includes vCenter. There are a lot of questions related to vSphere in the 5.2 exam. There were some in the 9 exam as well, but not as many. But you might see things like about content libraries or things like creating authentication sources or identity sources, and those might all be fair game on the exam. So don't think about only SCDC Manager and Cloud Builder for the 5.2 or VCF installer for 9.0. We'll go through the name changes between 5.2 and 9.0 as well. But it's all of the components, and it's all fair game. And looking at the blueprint.
Yeah, you've seen that architectural diagram with all the core services at the top and then all those optional pieces that you can plug in at the bottom. If it's on that chart, there could be a question. But yeah, the blueprint is your friend. The blueprint will tell you roughly what's in there or what's out of scope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Anything that's on the blueprint is fair game, even if it's like a small piece. You could end up getting a million questions on that. I know I got intimately familiar with a lot of ARIA automation or VCF automation or whatever it's called this week on all the exams I took recently. So prepare yourself.
So that QR code right there takes you to that blog post on the left, and there are 12 different days where some guest speaker comes online and covers a blueprint item or two, and it goes to the entire blueprint on the 5.2 administrator exam. Who here sat an exam here while they were here? Anybody? Yeah. So they didn't have the 5.2 exams readily available. If you asked them, they would have let you take it. It's still available, and we're going to go through, for those of you that have never tried reserving an exam, I'll step through that as well. But the 5.2 exams are still there. They're still available, and they're built on vSphere 8. And so there's a little bit more familiarity with a lot of people on that. But the community is a fantastic resource. There are a lot of bloggers out there, and that's one of the reasons that for those of you that didn't get one, we have a whole bunch of beer here. V-Beers is a thing where people will get together and talk tech. We're getting together and talking tech. So anybody that would like a Wisconsin U.S. beer, we've got some right down here. Feel free to come up and get one, or have another if you wish.
It's Belgian approved. So.
It's Belgian approved. That's good.
If you're watching the recording,
I ran out
later, you'll have to get your own beer.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to come back, though.
Push them all out.
Actually, a shout out about this, because Frankie Berrigan created this together with Stefan McTighe, who's running around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Just grab him by the neck. He should be fairly manageable. He's not that big. He's the only person shorter than me, so I can say that. So he's running around here. Just grab him by the neck and ask your questions, or anybody else here. People are happy to help out.
Yeah, definitely. Here are a couple of other links as well. So there is a study group link that has links to that other blog post, as well as some other resources. And there's a YouTube list for a lot of these different sessions as well. Excellent resources for studying.
Yeah.
Oh, go back, sorry. Give you guys another sec.
Slides will be published as well. So.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So now Dave talked a little bit about the e-learning portal. It is a great resource. So if you have successfully renewed with a VCF subscription license for your organization.
Or if you haven't, because we haven't.
Oh, but you.
But we have an ELA. It's just not a VCF ELA, but we still get access to it.
You get
Your
access,
mileage may vary on that.
You get access to this whenever you get VCF licenses these days. So you no longer need an ELA or whatever. As soon as you get VCF licenses, you're good, even if you're not direct.
Yeah, if you're not direct any, but I think because we haven't got an ELA, but we're still direct Broadcom, then we qualify through that route. So there are multiple routes to potentially get access to this.
Sure.
Right here.
But 100% of VCF customers that are subscription will have the ability to log into their e-learning portal and get training. And there are dozens and dozens of videos on these modules, and they're pretty solid. They're maybe not the same as an in-person class necessarily, but they're great to get the ball rolling on getting you going with VCF. Yeah, for sure.
And there's also questions. So you get to the end of that segment of the training. There's the usual review questions, test your knowledge stuff. And as you might expect, they're in a similar style to the questions that get asked in the exam. So if it asks you to put, for me, the thing that freaked me out at the time for the version 1 exam at least, put these 8 items in this process in the correct order. That was in the review that I did, and I got a question of that style in the exam. So I'm going to suggest that the training and the questions that they ask are a great indicator of the sort of things they're going to ask you in the actual test for 5.2.
Yeah, and it's
again, we're talking about 5.2 here, aren't we? Because resources aren't necessarily as up to date for 9, but certainly for 5.2, there's a wealth of content.
And just keep in mind you're taking a VMware Broadcom exam. Just keep that in mind when you see the questions, because I have coworkers or former coworkers who come from a network engineering background who would approach some questions differently just because of their background. Just keep that in mind, and the name changes as well.
Right. It's really important if you don't know the answer as well to use process elimination, and you'd be surprised by using that as a tool. That can get you quite a few points. An example that I always like saying is, who here knows anything about native fruits of Madagascar? Anybody? Okay, I have a question for you about native fruits of Madagascar. Which of the following is a native fruit of Madagascar? Bananas, cement, divorce. Bananas, right? I mean, because it's the only one that's a fruit, right? So it's an extreme example, but there are things you'll see on exams that if you really look into it, you can eliminate possibilities based on a series of criteria.
And I learned that yesterday by accidentally clicking it. If you click the right button in the exam UI, you can strike through a question you think is wrong or an answer you think is wrong. And that really helped me out by just doing that and coming back for the review like, oh, I strike this out. Is it really true? I discovered that yesterday by accident. So
it's fantastic in situations where it's multi-select. There are questions where there might be 7 possible answers, pick 4. So in order to keep track of everything, that right click is a good weapon tool in your tool belt.
I did not know that.
The more you learn. The exam guys didn't even know about that. They're like, what?
That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's see, what do we got now? Oh, let's talk a little bit about the architect exam as well. This is the only slide that we added about the architect exam. So Paul, that you see in the upper right-hand corner, did a video. There's supposed to be a series similar to the series that they had for administrator, but unfortunately, there were some availability issues. Yeah, Frankie ended up not being able to complete his duties there. And so they did 1 episode, and that 1 episode, the people that I've told watch that 1 episode to, that gets you over the edge. There are so much, like I said, TOGAF type stuff, enterprise architecture concepts that you really can take advantage of when you're taking that architect exam. And so, talking about conceptual models versus logical design versus physical design, and the idea that the minutia is always in the physical design and the conceptual model is something that maybe you would go to your board and present, and it's nothing that is going to be overly technical. And then everything that the business has as a requirement that's linked to a design decision for a reason why it's a requirement, and anything that you may not be able to satisfy either is going to be an assumption that you can't satisfy it, then you have to validate that assumption. If you can't validate it, you mark it as a risk. And then there are ways you can mitigate the risk, for example. You can choose to accept the risk. You can choose to avoid it using these strategies. You can contain it by having these mechanisms to contain the risk.
Or you can just accept it for a while and keep track of it in a risk register and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So that video should be on one of the YouTube links. I think it was the page with the 2 links. Or just look at VCP-VCF architect.
Or join the vCommunity's Discord, because it's on there in a separate channel.
Is it vcommunity.io, I think?
No, that's the other one. It's the vExpert / Tanzu Vanguard / other things.
That's right. Yep, that's right. Yeah, definitely.
But that's gold. My preparation for the 5.2 architect exam, 1 hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I watched it like 3 times, and that was enough. Because you want to get that information in your head for sure.
Exactly.
But ampers, ramps,
the cramps.
The cramps.
Right, yeah. But the
cost
idea
is also a thing.
that there are different design requirements, for like performance, manageability, recoverability, availability, right?
Security.
All the illities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and security, of course, because as you've heard many times in the last couple of days, security is a big deal. And
Yes, it is.
yeah.
I'm also an NSX guy, so.
Yeah.
There's one more thing about this, of course. Everything that you've got on there's nothing on there that mentions a version number.
Nope.
And because all those things are still just as valid in 9 as design considerations as they were in 5. Or all the other things, since we did VCAPs and looked at VCAPs on this stuff years ago.
Yeah, I got the feeling
it's the
that
same model.
the first architect exam was just a collection of all the VCAP designs, and they just lumped it all together. It's gotten better, but same principles still apply.
Yeah, and there are some other things too, like the difference between functional requirements and non-functional requirements. You can actually get a lot of that information by watching VCAP prep YouTube videos too. VCAP design, not the actual deploy. The deploy ones are, coding and how to do it. But the design is pretty applicable for the architect exam here. And I hear that VCAPs are coming.
Next month or the month after is what I heard.
Yeah, so they are not available right now. But the cool part is anybody here that has ever taken a VCAP, it is no longer $400 to take a VCAP. It's only $250, just like a VCP exam. And all of those of you who go to an event like an Explore or a VMUG Connect.
Yes. We did not agree upon this, but
So VMUG Connect is an event that there will be a handful of next year in different cities. I think one is, I forget if I guess they haven't been fully announced yet.
no.
Yeah,
Let's just look at Brad if he nods or
Yeah,
not.
no, we don't have to say when, but there will be opportunities both in the U.S. and Europe, and they're fantastic events. We went to the inaugural event in St. Louis.
Yes.
And Hawk was there, and all of the, William Lamb was there, and
He even
Frank
flew out
Denman was
Deneman
there.
for a
Few
keynote,
hours.
and then he flew
Yeah,
back.
and then he headed out. Chris Wolf was there.
We got
Chris McCain. Anyway, so, so there are opportunities to take exams at some events. Otherwise, you can be a VMUG Advantage subscriber and get 50% off an exam set. So you can take VCAP or a VCP exam for $125 at a testing center near you.
Or take it for free here. There's still spots.
Yeah, if you want to take it a shot, definitely try it out.
Elle's place? Shame.
Okay, so for those of you that have never scheduled a certification exam before using it with VMware or Broadcom, that QR code takes you to the main dashboard for logging in. Really, all you do is type in your email address or sign up if you need to, and then click Schedule Your Exam, nice and easy. And then you have to do the single sign-on to Pearson VUE from the Broadcom portal. Once you're in, you just select View Exams. You can find an exam by searching, but these are all of the exams that are available to Broadcom people. The one on the bottom is actually more geared to Symantec certs.
There's Brocade in there as well, I think.
Yeah, it's some Brocade. Yeah, but the VMware professional level exams are the ones that we are referring to. And here is a list of the exams. So yeah, you just have to hit that Japanese and you'll be set.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind that even the architect is a professional level exam. I wonder what they're going to do for advanced architect, but
it might be pretty
we'll
brutal.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. But so you select an exam here. Just understand that, like I said, the vSphere Foundation is not VMware Cloud Foundation. Those are different. So you can take it definitely, but it's not going to qualify you for the VCP or VCF keys. And then after that, you can select whether you want to do it in the test center or online. For those of you that don't know, you can take it in your office. There are some rules, however, if you take it. I've never actually done it online before. I always go to test centers. I like having that.
You have to dismantle your complete home office. You have to unplug the cables. Yeah, that works. Because you have to take a picture of every single side of the room, and it's horrible because you have to dismantle your entire home office.
Don't have anybody interrupting you. Don't have any pets come in. Don't. All that stuff.
That's fair.
Too much hassle for me. On top of the stress of doing an exam, you've got to get in the zone. You don't want to be doing all that shenanigans.
Right. So if you go to a testing center, primary ID and a secondary ID, no personal items with you in the testing room. You'll usually have a locker, or you can leave it in the back of the room if they've got that ability. And then you can reschedule or cancel at least one business day before your appointment. As we were talking about at home, there are a whole lot of other technical requirements. The one on the bottom is actually in their rules, believe it or not.
How did you find out about this?
It's pretty crazy, but
You've been reminded of that one, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I thought, just in case you were wondering. But there are some definite requirements. You need a webcam, you need a microphone, you need a speaker. You have to be able to take pictures of your room. And then if anybody walks in the room, be careful, you might get kicked out.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have to make sure that everybody, if you've got kids or family, hopefully you can lock your door. If you can't, just make sure that you've got yourself a couple hours. And nobody will disturb you.
Yes.
So, but yeah, any other thoughts on that?
I like going to these type of events because I can just easily get into the zone instead of driving to some testing center. It doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, I've got one 10 miles away, so it's not horrible. But yeah, and then if you're at home, there may be a couple of policies you have to agree to. So it's definitely a little bit more of a lift, and there are many, many more requirements doing the online testing.
Yes.
So, but yeah. All right, quick. Before we are done, we have 2.5 minutes left. Here are all of the components that are testable.
Don't look at the second line, because that's not correct. Because that's also a VCF installer now. A fleet manager is that.
Is it?
It is VCF fleet manager now.
Well, there is an SDDC manager still as well.
Yeah, it's been rebranded to fleet manager now.
There's fleet manager and SDDC manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is in there because it's kind of ARIA lifecycle. It's all a bit. You're mapping different things to different things. So part of this is here now, and part of that's not.
So watch this space.
Yeah, that's really the only one on this list that really hasn't changed here. But so you can tell there's some name changes. And some of these test questions, they may try and trick you. I've seen some of the old names on the new exam, and the new name is also there with the old name.
Yeah, it's a bit silly.
Yeah,
I've even seen VMware spelled incorrectly.
We could provide feedback to people about that, couldn't we? We should do that.
Yeah. But I mean, if you see vSphere Supervisor, understand that that's Kubernetes, right? It's containers.
Absolutely.
So there are certain things that you can take out of here, but it's good to know. It's a good list to know. A lot of things have changed.
Then if you do get certified at one of these events, you get these nice shoes.
Sometimes. Yeah, you wanted to make sure we covered that. So
yes.
In case you guys are wondering why I don't have shoes, I'm a restricted employee working in higher education. I'm not allowed to get free shoes for passing a cert exam.
Right.
So
such a shame.
It's such a shame, and they make me come here almost barefooted. Yeah. So
had to make sure that was in there.
Yeah.
I've got one more thing.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
One more thing on the process of doing the because you're all here to tie it in with VMUG Advantage, right? And you're all here to get your keys and your downloads and your home lab running for 3 years and all that sort of thing. You need to tie up the email address that you took the cert under, and the email address that you're registered with VMUG in for VMUG Advantage. If they're the same, awesomeness, you get the keys. If you heard me this morning, Matt and I helped test that out. We were the first people to download that stuff and prove that process worked. it definitely works. If you need to change one of those or the other one, it's going to be easier to contact VMUG and get your friends at VMUG HQ to change or sort that account email mismatch out than it is to go and do it with Pearson VUE. So I would recommend you take that route to do it.
Good call. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you do that? They're sitting over there.
Just
Hey,
email
Brad.
leader services.
Member services.
Member services. Hey, he's a leader as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, member services
Yeah.
at vmug.com.
Or if you want to change your Broadcom account, global exams at broadcom.com, they're very fast to respond.
Oh, good, because that wasn't always the case.
Yeah, I found that out in St. Louis, I think, and it was,
Right.
yeah, great.
Well, we are out of time. If anybody has any additional questions, feel free to come on up. And we've got a little bit of time before you have to kick off the closing session in here. Anybody that needs another beer, dare I ask, or didn't get one in the first place, we've got some up
there
here.
are still some here.
So, but
there's
thank
one
you so
left.
much. Take the session survey, please.
Or else.
Let us know how bad we were.
To the face.
Yeah. And do me one favor, just when you leave a comment, say the presentation was amazing. That's an inside joke.
No
And
problem
Explore,
with the
it was
slides.
a train wreck.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Anyway, thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.